Well, I look terrible this morning. It's very early on a Monday morning. I have to get this done so I get back to work. And I look awful. If I come closer, it does a little white balance adjust thing, not exposure adjust. But first thing in the morning, Adam. Um, I like doing these annual Golf R updates. I'm in the Golf R today. I look huge in these tiny race seats, but I do like to make sure that I at least tell everyone where things are with the Golf R. And we'll start by saying that the Golf R is currently at 51,691 on the odometer, which means that I roughly put on about 2,000 miles on this thing in 2021. Less than the 3,000 that I put on last year, and I foresee that's going to continue. Actually, the biggest thing this year was my drive to and from Delaware in this thing. I had a motorcycle event early in the year that I didn't want to ride my motorcycle down to. It was too cold, and so I drove this thing down to Delaware, and obviously it did beautifully. And I think I even mentioned on the Vortex forums that like it took a road trip for me to remember why I love this vehicle so much. It's a culmination of all kinds of factors that make this a fantastic car. The Golf is, an international bestseller because of all the things that make it awesome. The fact that the Volkswagen decides to make it all-wheel drive and give it a ton of power is is a bonus. The Golf is a great car. So, and then I proceeded to put it back in storage for the summer. So I haven't driven this thing in about 6 weeks. It's been in storage on a battery tender, and I'm about to take it down to Dexport, which is a VW Audi shop down in southern New Hampshire. The two owners are subscribers to this channel. They also are BMW motorcycle riders themselves, and they happen to also work on Audis. So, I have a lot of mechanics now to choose from for service on this thing. And while I've never worked with these two before, I felt like the universe is just so aligned on this that I should give them a chance. And I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job, really. So basically I gave them a list of things I wanted to do this winter, and they're going to store it too. So I gave them a list of things that I wanted to get done. They came back with a not to exceed quote of like $2,700, and I was like, that sounds good, but just so you know, this $800 of the things you don't have to do because of this, and this. It was a back and forth, and they said, that's fine, we'll figure all that out when we open the hood. We just wanted to make sure that like, kind of how much you're getting yourself into. And I'm like, that's fine. So basically what I told them is to give it a full inspection, everything. So if you, if you take the wheels off and you see that my pads are shot on the front, replace them. Just use the StopTech Red Stuff pads versus the EBC or any of the OEM stuff. If the rotors are warped or scorched, replace them with the StopTech rotors I have on there now. If you find there's something, a CV boot is, it's seen better days, it's probably fine, just replace it. Like, I don't want them to, give me a whole list of things that I need to look out for. This isn't a typical customer car where it's like, hey, you may want to think about doing this and this the next 12,000 miles. No, just do it. So basically they're going to do oil filter. They're going to clean the air filter, which is foam. They're going to change the Haldex fluid and the DSG fluid. Both of those were done 2 years ago at 40,000 miles, I think. I'm only at 50,000. The interval is 40. So I'm only at 10,000 miles since those changed. The interval is 40,000 miles, but it's been 2 years. And so 2 years from me is my max I want to spend on fluids. And so 2 years for the brake fluid, the clutch fluid, and the all-wheel drive fluid. Just change them. It's fine. But make sure that when you're doing the Haldex service that you check the screen in the back and you make sure the screen isn't clogged with sediment. Stuff like that. Look for things like leaks and things that might be a problem. You've got it all winter, so like uh, whatever you want to do to it. And I'll mention some things to them like the steering, the shifter plastic I broke like 6 years ago, and it should probably be replaced. And I've got an issue with the clips behind my radio here that should probably be replaced. There's small annoyances that I've dealt with for 2 to 4 years, and while they're in there, just fix them. And they're also doing spark plugs. And I mentioned obviously the cylinder one is being coiled because of the over torquing. I mentioned all the kind of nuances. They'll probably test the battery, and if the battery is bad, they'll replace that. They're just going to go through it, and they're going to do a once every 2 to 3 year maintenance on the car. That's it. That's the whole ordeal. I'm imagining that they're probably going to get into it for about $1,800 when all is said and done, which is fine. That's okay. It's the elephant in the room. I think that most of you may be aware of by now is that this car is currently listed for sale on a couple of different places. I've had some bites. I've had dealers offer me $28,000 for it. It's a $40,000 Golf R. It's a 2016 model year, and it has 50,000 miles. They've offered me $28,000 for it. Another dealer offered $27,000. I've had some guys online offer $26,000. I've got it listed for $33,000, with my goal being $30,000. I want to get $30,000 for it. I don't actually want to sell it. The beautiful thing about my situation is that in about 12 months, hopefully by this time next year when it comes time to store it, I will be able to place this car in my house. Now don't read into that. So that will eliminate a lot of my problems with this vehicle, which is it's sitting outside in the elements, getting faded paint. The carbon stranded coating helps a little bit. It will also help me be able to keep it on a tender full time. It'll keep it local where I'm not having to commit 2 hours of my time to go pick the car up to go drive it for a Sunday. It'll be in my house on a battery tender, clean, out of the elements, and I'll be able to actually take care of it. The registration per year, New Hampshire registration is really screwy. You pay a lot up front, you pay a little less over time. I'm at the bottom of registration. I think this thing costs like $150 a year to keep registered. Insurance is seasonal. I insure it June through October. So it's a very low running car at this point, and I don't need the money. I have the new truck that I'm paying for, so I don't need this money, the $30,000 for some project. So I'm in no rush to sell it. All I want to do is keep spending about $1,000 to $1,500 a year total. That's maintenance, insurance, and registration. And then once I'm able to store it on site, that saves me about $75 a month that I'm paying to store it off site in the wintertime. And so that's kind of the Golf R update. Once this thing is in my house and I can work on it in the wintertime, the goal is to do methanol injection, the catch can, the flex fuel tune for E85, and do that kind of stuff. Maybe a larger turbo, maybe, but I haven't really found that there's. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a beefier setup for sustained torque. I don't want to run through drive shafts like they're free, So I'm a little hesitant on more power, and I also don't want to do a built engine either. So, I'd like to keep the engine temps cool. I would like to take advantage of E85, and I would like to keep carbon shit out of my motor with a catch can. All those things are kind of non-daily driver upgrades. And what I mean by that is when you have water methanol and you have a catch can, you now have a risk of those things freezing or being extra maintenance in the wintertime. And so once this car is officially stored, summer car, not going anywhere else, heated garage, then I'll feel more confident about doing those things to it. The vehicle's fine. It's a fantastic car. It's very reliable, and so I'm excited about the next chapter. However, if someone were to come to me and say, "I want your car for 30 grand," done. You can have it. And the reason for that, last thing I'll mention is the reason for that is because um, the new Golf R is coming out. MSRP is around 44, 45. I'd like to wait one full model year before getting it. And so if someone gave me 30 grand for this thing, I would just put it into one of my savings accounts that, investment account, and just let it sit there. It would get up to the 45 grand in 12 months, and then I would be able to just go buy a new Golf R for cash. The new Golf R is incredibly appealing. It's it needs a lot of the upgrades I've done to this thing, not to the extent of this thing. We're talking stage 1 tune and then full suspension setup with beefier rear sway bar and a unibrace kind of thing, and that's it. That's it. It won't need all the stuff that I've been doing in this car. I would be more than happy to run a stock Golf R with just stage 1 and a full suspension workover. We're talking 4 or 5 grand, and that would be all that would be done to it. And then it would become what this car was always supposed to be before I drove it for 3 winters, which is sit in the heated garage, get driven on the weekends, go to autocross events and drag strip events, drive it when it's nice outside, and basically put 2,000 to 3,000 miles on it for 10 years. That would be my plan for the next Golf R, because I'm finally in a place in my life where I can actually store a car versus drive it all winter. I mean, this thing, it's fine. It's in very good shape, but it's not a Florida car in the amount of rust underneath the car. And so I would like my next Golf R to never see salt. And so, that's kind of what I'm thinking, big plans. So, hey, buy my car. I'd be happy to part with it. I'd replace it with another Golf R, and that Golf R would be baby to hell, and I would like that very much. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go down to Dexport and see Pete and Kara and chat with them, and then hopefully get back in time to start my workday without being too late. Last Golf R video of the year, because it's going into winter storage. You will see this next in June. Unless someone buys it over the winter time and comes and gets it and hauls it away. If you are going to buy it, though, let me know, because I need to put winter tires on it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.